Get your man the flute to play song, the fuck.
Take which everyone, Kajima Toshi, and welcome back to episode number 114 of the Inline G Flute Podcast with me, your host, motherfucking Inline G. Man, they're doing Spezi in cans now. How fucking class is that? For the non-Germans of the podcast, Spezi is the best soft drink in the world. It's actually launched in the American market now. I think it's called Sunset in America. You'll notice by this beautiful logo, which I have stolen for the Inline G podcast. And apparently Paulaner are suing a lot of people for stealing this logo. They haven't sued me yet. Come and sue me, please. I could do with the publicity. But anyway, hello everybody. It's good to see you all. And especially hello to the new listeners, because my Instagram over the last week has spiked. I don't know what the fuck happened, but my reach on Instagram has been like 64,000 people in the last 7 days, which is obscene. And the podcast numbers, out of nowhere, have just spiked. Someone somewhere has done me a favor. Maybe I've ended up on one of those fucking Spotify playlist suggestions, like the Girl Boss playlist. Here I am, bitches. But anyway, welcome. If you're new to the podcast, it is great to have you. Come on in. The water is lovely. Now, I know you're thinking, this doesn't sound like a flute podcast. It fucking is, right? Just give me a few minutes. And if you're American and you're offended by the swearing, please don't be. Give me a minute. Let me explain myself. And then if you want to fuck off, you can. So, this podcast, the Inline G podcast, is a mixture of solo episodes where it's just me, myself, and I, and a can of something delicious, talking shit, flute conspiracy theories. It's almost like if you met me in a pub at 2 a.m. and I've got a belly full of Guinness and a mind full of flute conspiracy theories, and you have the misfortune of talking to me. That's what you're getting here. We're going down rabbit holes. We're finding what we can on Wikipedia. We're going to review flute albums, recordings, whatever comes to my wild mind. Called therapy. Or we have the guest episodes where I meet flute players or people adjacent to the flute world, conductors or other instrumentalists or flute makers or things like that, and we make them more human. We chat to them. Those episodes are a little bit more chill. There isn't as much swearing in them, if any, and they have a different vibe. So choose your poison. If you want a nice chill one, go check out the guest episodes. I'd recommend recently the one with Mario Caroli seemed to do great numbers. Everyone loved that one. Go check that out. If you're here for the weird, the wacky, and the wonderful, and especially if you're not a flute player, you're in the right place, lads. You hang about with me. And don't get offended by the swearing. Man, Americans get so fucking wound up by swearing. It drives me mad. This is the way people talk, especially where I come from. I'm from Belfast, if you haven't heard, by this noise. That's what this noise is. And it's part of daily life. Swearing adds colour. It adds vibrance. It adds accent to the language. It's the way we speak. I'm not going to take it away for a podcast because Americans are fucking fannies about it. It's fine. Just sit with the discomfort if you don't like the swearing. So anyway, it's good to have you. Now, I've got something to show you, and without further ado, I'm just going to get this out. Lads, here, if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, unlock your phone right now and tap the wee thing where you get to watch the video just for a few seconds. Even if it uses up all your data, you want to see this, okay? Because this is fucking wild. And for the video watchers, you're lucky. Lads, look at that. I hope you can see it clearly. That is my brand new flute bag. It has Inline G embroidered on this bit here. It has Flute Podcast. It is a beautiful purple and gold. It's got these lovely leather handles, got a strap on the inside, man. The color on the inside is like this beautiful fucking bright orange. It is, lads, it's a piece of art. So we're going to talk about this, right? This bag comes from Melody Bags. Now, it's run by a lovely woman called Olga out in Poland, just beside Germany, as we fucking know. Olga messaged me. I've been chatting to Olga for a while. I'm going to leave that there so you can keep looking at it. Why the fuck do you make it sit there? Just sit. For fuck's sake. I'm going to have to edit this out. Olga. So she messaged me a couple of months ago on Instagram saying she likes the podcast and she's a big fan. And we've chatted since then. She's an amazing player as well. Specializes in Baroque and period instruments. Really, really fucking good player. But she makes bags on the side. It's part of her business. And yeah, we chatted. Sometimes I'd share stories where she's been watching the podcast and working away. And one day I get a message from Olga saying, Gareth, I've got something for you. And I said, what have you got for me, Olga? And she went, I've made you something. And she sent me a picture of this bag. And she was like, if it's okay. If you don't like it, it's okay. Don't worry. It's just a present. But if you don't like it, it's fine. I was like, don't like it? I'm crying. I'm crying on the fucking subway here in the middle of Cologne. Are you kidding me? It is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. I showed everybody the pictures of it, and I couldn't wait to show you guys it or put it on my socials. But it took a while to send because I went back to Ireland and I wanted to be here when it arrived. So, first of all, Olga's given me permission to say this. This was a gift. I didn't pay for this. And also, full disclosure, this is not sponsored in the fucking slightest. This was free, all right? And she didn't say, oh, if you do it, please promote me. In fact, it's been the opposite. I've had to kind of push her to say, please let me promote your stuff because it's fucking awesome. The bag is beautiful. And I don't get to do this very often. I don't get to like promote other flute players on here because honestly, most flute businesses out there, they're fucking wankers. They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. They're not worth the money. This is an actual independent person making something really fucking cool. She sent me some very kind words. It was free. And I am obsessed with it. It's beautiful. I love it. Now, Olga did send me a message telling me all the features of it if I wanted to talk about it. I'm not going to lie, lads. I wasn't really listening. I was just looking at this. But I don't know if you can see, but the zip is... You'll see this in the pictures on my Instagram. The zip has a rainbow color along it. The zip is, as she poetically put it, in line. Because apparently the way zips get fucked is that they get fucked at the ends. So the zips go inwards so you don't get fucked. It's amazing. It's got space inside for your flute and your piccolo comfortably. I took it to orchestra last night and put both in and a bit more space. There's a wee front pouch for your pencils and your stickers and your flute cleaner rod and a couple of snacks, which is what I use it for. The strap goes right down because I like to put it over my head. I don't like to carry it. I like to put it over like a bow and arrow. So I do that. It works great. And it's just the highest quality craftsmanship. It's an absolute fucking stunner. So I don't promote things in this podcast. I won't take sponsorships, famously. But Olga deserves your fucking money and your time and your attention. Go look at her products. She's got things on there where she's made them before. You can go buy the bags that are pre-made. They're actually not that expensive. I hadn't checked out her prices before. I'm not going to lie. But I did. And they're like, some of them are only like 200 euros for a bag. They're fucking gorgeous. I should have known the name of her website. Is it melodybags.com? If you Google Melody Bags, you're going to find it. Okay. So she's an amazing woman. She's definitely a future Inline G guest. When I can get in the same country as Olga, we'll be doing that the fuck. But the joy of this podcast is connecting with the sound flute people around the world and not the fucking snake oil rats out to get you, aka Americans. Because her bags are beautiful, the prices are fair, and it's just fucking made with love. It's stunning. I don't know if she's making more Inline G ones. Maybe if you ask her, she might make one for you. But anyway, this bag popped in. This bag arrived yesterday. This podcast is being recorded and has to go out in 7 hours. The unprofessional, you wouldn't believe. So, I had an idea for an episode suddenly. I had another episode written, which I've threatened to put out for a long fucking time, but these ideas pop into my head, and when it comes in, I have to pull on the thread. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I was putting this on at the top. So, around the zip, there's a little 4-leaf clover, a little shamrock. 4-leaf clover. It's actually a bracelet. I'm not gonna lie, the bracelet is ugly as fuck. But I attach it to my flute bag. My old flute bag was a Galway one from Flute Scooter, and I attach it now. The clover or the shamrock came from my girlfriend. My girlfriend got it for me when she was in Portugal as a little gift to bring back to me because she didn't know much about Ireland either. The 4-leaf one isn't really Irish, it's more the shamrock, but it was beautiful anyway. I put it straight on my flute bag because I'm not gonna lie, we both said it is a little bit fucking ugly, but I like the sentiment of it. I wouldn't wear it on my wrist, but I wanted to display it all the time. So I put it in my flute bag. Thought nothing of it. And since then, things have been fucking flying. This was like July. She did this. Since then, everything has been fucking flying in my life when it comes to flute playing. I have done my first gig at the Cologne Philharmonie. I'm playing the Essen Philharmonie this week. I won my first ever orchestral audition. My flute playing is flying. I've got 3 more gigs lined up. Everything is flying at the minute since July. Since this fucking shamrock arrived. So, I thought, it's going on the next bag, and it's not going fucking anywhere. So it coincided nicely with all this coming together. And it got me thinking about superstitions. Because is this a superstition? I don't know. And I actually did an episode on this for my other podcast, which is no longer going, or it's taking a hiatus at least. It's a football podcast, football being soccer, not that fucking shite you play in America. I have a football podcast with a friend of mine called Joe. It's called the England B Team Football Podcast. Similar vibe to this, only more sport orientated. But I wrote in an episode about superstitions in football. And it's amazing how the general opinion of football fans was superstitions are positive. They're part of the game. But musicians, and especially classical musicians, look down on them. or maybe not even musicians, fucking Americans, Yanks look down at the idea of superstition. It's very fucking stupid. In Ireland, we're very superstitious people. Okay, Ireland was it was formerly pagan, and then Christianity was introduced with St. Patrick. But many of the rituals and beliefs that we had from pagan Ireland were incorporated into religion. So we have a bit of a weird mix of religion and pagan traditions. And because of Ireland's geography, its economics, its political isolation, modern civilization didn't take that away from us like it did with a lot of other countries. It's always the poor countries that stay connected with the earth, with nature, with spirituality, all these old beliefs. They don't tend to leave poor countries. Money makes it fuck off. It makes science and rationale come in, and they pump it full of money, and all these things go out the window. Americans, for example, they don't have beliefs. They just have dollars. They don't have culture. They have dollars, and they have a great tradition of shooting minorities in the head, but that's it. But in Ireland, we still have things that we believe in. Things that would shock your average American. We still believe in fairies. We believe in banshees. We believe in universal healthcare for everybody. Like, for example, I was down in County Clare last week, and we were driving near the Latoon Fairy Bush. Sorry, fairy. I have to pronounce it properly. I'm getting complaints about my accent in this podcast. But fuck yous. Understand it. It's called Hiberno English. Read a fucking book. There's a Latoon. Latoon's a small town in County Clare in the west of Ireland. And there's a fairy bush down there. And that fairy bush, there was a proposal from the Irish government to build a highway or a motorway from Dublin out to the west. And it would have needed the destruction of this bush. Now, the fairy bushes in Ireland, for anyone who doesn't know, fairies are spiritual creatures. They're not nice. They're evil bastards, and you don't disturb them. If you disturb them, they do all kinds of awful things to you. For example, until more recently than I'd be willing to admit, in parts of the west of Ireland, they believe that if your child was born with any kind of deformity or Down syndrome or anything like that, that what had happened was, as you'd done something to piss off the fairies, and during the night they'd stolen your child and brought back a copy, a poorly made copy. And this was penance that you had to pay. This is like until the 70s people believed in this. Some not always good. But we do love these kind of stories. And because of that, the fairy bush, the M18 motorway that was planned, the building was delayed for 10 years because locals and loads of people around the country would not allow this fairy bush to be cut down. And now that is true. The M18 goes a big fucking loop around this bush, which is no bigger than this table. Because we believe in it, man, and we stand by it. And it also has a role with the environment and nature and our connection to nature. It's incredibly important to Irish people that we keep these things. And we do believe in it. Banshees, fucking hell, we love banshees in Ireland. For anyone that doesn't know what banshee is, it's a spirit that takes the form of an elderly woman. And if you hear the banshee cry, more like a wail, that's what you hear. It means that someone close to you is about to die. And I remember my girlfriend came back to Ireland, for the first time last week. And she heard a story. I was telling her a story about this, where there's a pub in rural Ireland, and there's a house, like a village, maybe 20 minutes walk. But in rural Ireland, it's very common. People do have a few drinks and drive back, because the walk will be fucking ages. The drive will be 2 minutes. There's no one out there. But there's also rural taxi firms. They don't run very well. And since the drink driving ban came in, obviously people are driving less. So I heard a story about a couple of lads. They had to walk home that night. And as they were walking home, they took a corner and they all heard the banshee. And I've heard the story from these lads directly, and they said, we heard the fucking banshee cry, Gareth. And I was thinking, was it the banshee or was it the 13 pints of Guinness that might have done it? But anyway, I'm sure my girlfriend, every time I went to pee, she was following me to the fucking toilet. She's like, there might be banshees in there. You have to protect me from them. Because we love these things, man. But Americans, they've dropped superstition entirely. And the arrogance of superiority around it is honestly fucking annoying. And I'm here to bust your bubbles here. Especially considering how fucking stupid Americans are. All right? If you think it's stupid, you should believe it then, you fucking idiots. So I went to social media to collect some superstitions from flute players. I asked you all directly. I went to Instagram, I went to Flute Forum, and I got your flute playing superstitions. I'm going to give you a few of them now. So, for example, someone actually replied, you can't say ropes at the opera. That's in French. Okay? The person who sent this, that's Jad, for anyone who doesn't know, my best friend who's on this podcast somewhere. You can't say the word called at the opera. I think it's to do with the attachment to sailors. And if you say that word out loud in any production or rehearsal of an opera, it like implies it summons deceased sailors or some shit like that. But anyway, it's bad luck to do it. You never say good luck in France either. You avoid that entirely. One that a couple of people told me about is if you drop your sheet music, you have to step on it. Apparently that's quite a common one. I like this one. Tomás sent this. Tomás Tavares, who's also a former guest in this podcast. I don't know if this is his idea or if I give him this idea, but I believe in this so much. Always plan a party for afterwards, because then you know no matter how you play, there's a pint waiting for you. I do that every time. No matter what gig I do or audition I do, there's a pint afterwards planned for it, and it's a party planned. Someone else said if you make a lot of mistakes in the dress rehearsal, you'll have a good concert. This fucking thing about, man, 2 bananas an hour before I perform. Someone else, bananas before performance. Third person, bananas before performance. Why is so many people eating fucking bananas? Man, I made a joke about this, right? I said to someone, I was like, oh, fucking bananas are really important currency in the flute world, apparently. And he was joking, saying, how important can they fucking be? Man, there was a tab in my brain. I've opened a tab 7 years ago that I haven't closed, and it just started fucking flashing up there. I was like, man, bananas are important. Because, you know, Banana Republic, it's like the shop, the brand, Banana Republic. It's not just like Banana Republics are a thing. It started because way back in the day, people went to South America and they fucking loved the bananas. So in America, normal America, Jesus, bad America, the USA, they didn't have bananas. They went to South America, bananas are like, fuck, these are great. They're delicious. They're packaged up already for you. They're high in vitamins. They're really dense in carbohydrates, and they're fucking yellow, and they look class, and they've got a lovely association with monkeys, and everyone loves them. So the fucking Americans, surprise, surprise, would go into smaller South American countries to get the bananas. The fucking CIA were involved with this. So, for example, the United Fruit Company, who are now known as Chiquita, which you'll buy your bananas, it'll say Chiquita on them, they would go into smaller countries, take control of the roads, the infrastructure, the ports, the airports, countries like Guatemala or Honduras, and do all this just to get fucking bananas. Because they were making so much money on bananas. They were so popular. Apparently, still, the number one selling product in American supermarkets is fucking bananas. The influence that Chiquita, or the United Fruit Company, had was so strong that they set up puppet governments in these countries, essentially under US controlled by the CIA, just to make sure they could get bananas out. And then that drives up inequality. They started fucking civil wars over this in South American countries. Bananas, over fucking bananas. So the definition of a banana republic is a politically unstable country dependent on one export resource and economically exploited by eternal powers. So bananas are fucking important in the world. Who would have knew? Now, what other ones have we got here? All horn players should pray in church. I think that's a joke. Reconsidering and changing my whole flute technique 2 hours before the recital. That's fucking funny. That is fucking funny. A lot of people say what foods they have. Gareth McLaren sent me one as well. He used to have all sorts of superstitions. Setting the burglar alarm in the house, having the deadlock bolted before it beeped in a certain way, eat a certain thing the day before. I had the need to be able to spot somebody walking around on the ground from the airplane. Otherwise, the whole gig day audition would be fucked. Amazing. What do we have here? Well, this is where I'm in flute form, by the way, where the Americans start fucking piping up. I've got one here. I saw a lot of people have a ritual superstition and get into a panic when it was disturbed. So my only ritual was not to have one. Someone else, one of the most freeing things I ever saw on a Facebook meme was this: it is bad luck to be superstitious. Man, fuck up. Fuck up. This is what annoys me. Someone did say about the treat after, no matter what, have a treat. And I agree with that. Pint. Unless you're not 18 yet, have an ice cream. But it's funny. The people who sit and poke fun at the idea of having superstitions will happily fucking eat a banana to settle their nerves beforehand. The banana one is accepted. So many fucking flute players eat bananas before they play. Here, guys, fun fact, eating one banana before you do a gig, it does fuck all. It does absolutely fuck all. Yes, potassium does help with muscles and vitamin B6 and all this bollocks, but it's one fucking banana. It's not magic. It's a banana. What do you think's going to fucking happen? One banana. Are you serious, man? It's like that magic formula that Bugs Bunny gives Michael Jordan in Space Jam. It's just water, okay? It's ridiculous. It's a placebo. Fucking obviously. Bananas do not make you play better. They do not settle your nerves, lads. I'm sorry. One banana does fuck all, okay? But it works. And that's because superstitions work. Music is riddled with them. Professional music. Even the thing you hear, I don't know if we do it as much in English, but in France, people always say toy, toy, toy before you go on stage. It's an alternative to saying good luck, because saying good luck is bad luck. And apparently, the story I heard was it's to mimic the spitting sound, which a lot of cultures around the world will spit 3 times to bring luck. So toy, toy, toy is the idea of spitting 3 times. Break a leg. You've all heard that phrase. Obviously, you don't want people to actually break their legs, but there's all kinds of etymologies to that one. But other musicians embrace these. Classical music, surprise, fucking surprise, is at the back of the line again. Because God forbid you get off your fucking high horse for 2 minutes and just analyze things. The superiority complex around classical musicians, especially Americans, is ridiculous. I'm here to burst your bubbles, lads. Fucking banana eaters. Before I do that, right, how long are we in? God, we're 19 minutes in. Right, before I do that, because it's getting interesting now and I know you're hooked. So I'm not going to give you all the other superstitions and what I think about them until I try to make myself a couple of quid here. So, the Inline G podcast is free and it always will be free. That is a guarantee. But if you want to donate to the podcast, you can now do so through the Patreon. On the screen now, don't block the bag, please, is the address. And for the audio listeners, it is patreon.com/the Inline G podcast. Do not forget the, okay? Now, I do everything in this podcast on my own. Audio production, video production, script writing, travel, graphic design, every fucking aspect of this podcast, everything is done by yours truly. There's an episode every fucking week. Every Friday you will get an episode of this podcast. I haven't missed one in 114 weeks. That's 4 episodes a month. At least. Sometimes 5. Now, if you listen to all 4 episodes and you think, fuck, that was good entertainment, that was 4 hours of entertainment. If I saw Gareth in a pub, I'd buy him a pint to say thank you. Do it digitally. So you can go in, sign up. It's €5 a month, okay? Whatever that is in your currency, €5 a month. With that, you're keeping this podcast alive. I do not take sponsors anymore in this podcast because when I want to have them to say, don't swear, don't talk about politics, don't tell Donald Trump to go fuck himself, I'm not doing that, okay? This podcast is big and it is the #1 flute podcast in the world because I create the content that you want and sponsors are not going to get any creative control over this. We are the biggest flute podcast in the world and we are 100% listener funded. That is punk rock as fuck. So what you do is you donate your €5 a month. It keeps the podcast alive. I still think that all the episodes should be free for everybody. It's an idea based on socialism. I can hear the Americans panicking there. So you're not going to get extra episodes. It's basically if you can afford it and you thought, yeah, €5 a month to get access to Inline G. That sounds fair. I'll send that across. Great. Do it. Okay, you pay double that for Netflix. And what have you watched on Netflix really in the last month? It's fucking shite. But it's only if you can afford it. I'm a small independent artist. It's great to get paid for my work. This is a lot of work. The research, the script writing for this podcast takes a fucking long time, but it is a passion project and I adore every second of it. And because I know you guys are paying for it, I will put my 100% best effort into everything I do in this podcast. So if you can afford it, €5 a month, sign up. You can unsubscribe at any fucking time. And you don't get charged any weird things. Patreon's very good for that. One thing, do not do it on the app if you're on an iPhone. Do it through a browser, because if you do it in the app, Apple will take half the money. Pricks. So if you can afford it, sign up. It makes a huge difference to this podcast. You can even do it 1 month and then jump out. You can sign up straight away and unsubscribe after you've paid 10 minutes later. And you'll be out the next month. It's amazing. But if you can't afford it, times are hard. We're all musicians here. A lot of us are. We're artists. We can't afford it. That's fine. Someone who can afford it is paying so that you can keep listening for free. It is a system based on kindness and soundness. Thank you very much. So, musicians embracing superstitions outside the classical world. There's plenty of these. Selena Gomez, for example, has a teaspoon of olive oil every time she goes on stage. That sounds fucking disgusting. I once had olive oil because I was in my first weekend when I moved to Paris before I started conservatoire. I went out one night on a Saturday, got extremely drunk, did not know that you couldn't get the bus home afterwards, walked home at 5 o'clock in the morning, got back to my flat, did also not know that shops are not open on a Sunday in Paris, and my sink was broken, so I couldn't get water out of it, and my fucking mouth was so dry, man. I was so thirsty. I drank olive oil, and I nearly fucking died. So I know how unpleasant that is. Rihanna gets a pre-performance huddle. Apparently one of her pre-performance huddles with her team had lasted 70 minutes, and she was late for the gig. Like, she does the huddle like fucking Celtic do. It's class. Lord eats a fuckload of seaweed before every gig. Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, he irons his own shirt before every single concert. The Rolling Stones, they have the weirdest one for this. They have to have a full shepherd's pie before every gig, and the top with the mashed potato has to be nice and crispy and one uniform thing, and Mick Jagger has to be the one to take a spoon and crack it open every gig. The band Weezer, Beverly Hills, that's where I wanna be. They throw a frisbee about like a bunch of fucking Christians on the beach. The Foo Fighters, they drink Jägermeister and listen to Michael Jackson before every gig. Leonard Cohen, he sits and recites a Latin phrase, which is pauper sum ego nihil habeo, which is I am poor, I have nothing. He does that for 30 minutes before every single gig. I've been crying saying that for years and it did me fuck all good. I am poor, I have nothing. What the fuck did it do for me? I'm not selling out concerts. So these superstitions are nothing new. Man, people have had superstitions for a long time. And dismissing them again as being ridiculous is just pure fucking ignorance, because there is proof that they work. The science has been done on this. You can say, oh no, they don't work and blah, blah, blah. They fucking do. They really do. Now, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about the England B Team football podcast. I can recycle my script here, which is very good because I've had a busy week and I can't be spending all my day writing fucking podcasts for you. But if we look at football, sports psychologists have been a part of major football teams since, like, really part of it, like a core part of the team since 1997. Middlesbrough were the first team to do it with a guy called Chris Barnes. Now, every major football club in Europe will have a sports psychologist on their books, full time. Why? Because it fucking works and they have the money to do it and they will do anything they can to get an advantage, and they know sports psychology works. And so many sports stars are superstitious and have so many fucking routines. And instead of being ignored or being laughed at by sports psychologists, these are optimized to give the best results. The basic idea is when these are done well, they give a sense of control, confidence, and trust in something beyond yourself. If it goes too far, suddenly they control you, they become a hindrance. Fair enough, but there is a sweet spot that works. And that's why they pay so much fucking money and they let these top athletes do that. They know it works. I'll give you some examples of footballers. So Pierre van Hooijdonk, fucking brilliant striker. He had a curry before every game. John Terry, former Chelsea captain. He had 50 different routines every match day. Same usher CD in his car to the game, tapes his socks exactly 3 times, same shin pads for years. He lost his shin pads before a game against Barcelona in 2005 in the Camp Nou, and the kit man apparently had to walk about the entire stadium trying to find him because JT refused to play. He uses the same urinal before every game, so much so that Chelsea had to install different urinals for every player to make sure JT could use the same one. One of the greatest defenders of all time. Rio Ferdinand smashed a bottle of water over his head, jump over the white line and run to the corner when walking onto the pitch. Kolo Touré always insisted on being the last player to walk out to the pitch. So when the team were walking out, he had to be last. And in 2009, Arsenal, who he was playing for, played against Barcelona, and one of the other players had to get treatment just before they went out because they had picked up a small injury. Kolo Touré waited until the other player went out first before he went on, and everyone just fucking stood on the pitch, and the referee was like, lads, you're 2 players short, and Touré was like, I'm not going anywhere until he's on. Fucking wild. Pippo Inzaghi, a legendary Italian striker. He was fucking born in the box, that lad. He had a packet of kids' biscuits and had to leave 2 in the box every single game. Melvin Kamara used to watch, played for Wimbledon, defender. He used to watch the old Willy Wonka movie before every single game to calm his nerves. He said that Johnny Depp one offended him. Johan Cruyff, legendary Dutch footballer, doesn't even seem right to say. Poet. Fucking innovator, philosopher. He spat chewing gum out onto the other team's half every single game. And he used to go to his goalkeeper at Ajax, Gert Bads. He used to go up to his goalkeeper and have to shut up and smack his belly. Adrian Mutu, Chelsea striker, who was banned for drug or cocaine, took a load of cocaine. But he was a great striker, played number 7. He put basil in his socks because a group of Romanian witches where he's from threatened him and said that's the only way to keep the threat off. And my favorite one, Valery Lobanisky, former Dynamo Kiev and Soviet Union striker, manager. He was the manager, the coach of the team. He made sure every team he managed had 1 ginger player in the squad at all times. Now, there's a book out there I've talked about so many times in this podcast, and you have to fucking read it. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis. It's by a guy called Timothy Galloway, and it was written in 1974. And this brought sports psychology to the mainstream. There is a music version of this book. It's called The Inner Game of Music. It's like a spin-off series. It's fucking shite. Don't read it. Not worth your time. The Inner Game of Tennis, just go and read the good one. But the idea is simple. In sports performance, or elite level performance, there are 2 games. There is the outer game, which is the actual sport, and the inner game, which is the battle inside an athlete's head against themselves. Now, if you take the 2 extremes of mental preparation for sport, which is when you're in the zone or you choke, he explains the importance of the inner game and how to control it. So he says, one aspect is superstitions. Superstitions are irrational beliefs that link a behavior to the outcome of an event. Now, Galway says here, when used correctly, they can boost self-confidence, reduce anxiety, and ultimately improve performance. A lot of studies have been done recently proving this. It's a form of controlling the uncontrollable. Superstitions become unhealthy when they control us. But the goal of sports psychology, and this is the big bit, this is a bit I love. The goal of sports psychology is to turn superstitions into pre-performance routines. The difference isn't massive, but embracing superstition has now become mainstream and accepted because of that wording. And that's it. If I call superstitions pre-performance routines, suddenly all you fucking Americans are wanking away over it. You're like, yeah, we love pre-performance routines. They're fucking great. But if I say superstitions, you're all like, you're idiots. Oh, you Irish people are fucking idiots. You're fucking idiots. It works, and it's all done your thing called the placebo effect. You've all heard of the placebo effect, not the band placebo, the placebo effect. Now, back in the day, people did placebo trials. So placebo trial, usually for medication, they would give people pills. Some of the pills would be the actual active drug, and some of the pills would just be sugar. And they would analyze how they affected people. Now, the general idea back in those days was if people reported feeling better with the placebo drug, it meant the drug itself was not working. It was like a negative. It was deemed a failure. But then people started clocking on and going, well, hang on. What if these placebos are actually fucking working instead of the drugs not working? Now, it's still not quite understood. There's trials all across the world about trying to understand the placebo effect because it fucking works. This is from the Harvard Health Department, by the way. So, how placebos work is still not quite understood, but it involves a complex neurobiological reaction that includes everything from increases in feel-good neurotransmitters like endorphins and dopamine to greater activity in certain brain regions linked to moods, emotional reactions, and self-awareness. All of it can have therapeutic benefit. The placebo effect is a way for your brain to tell the body what it needs to feel better. A study published online by PLOS Biology may have identified what goes on in the brain during a placebo effect. Researchers used functional magnetic resonance imaging to scan the brains of people with chronic pain from knee osteoarthritis. Some knee thing. Sorry lads, I can't read that. Then everyone was given a placebo and had another brain scan. The researchers noticed that those who felt pain relief had greater activity in the middle frontal brain region, which makes up about 1/3 of the frontal lobe. It fucking worked. They work. And if you deny that superstitions work or placebos work, you're a fucking idiot. It's ignorance and it's nothing else beyond that. They can work. Turn your superstitions into pre-performance routines. And also, I'm going to end with a little note on this. How long have I been talking? 31 minutes. This is a short podcast this week. Great. You can get on and do better things. I'm going to end with a little note here. And you're not going to like this, especially you fucking Americans. But here, a lot of sports stars, a lot of musicians, a lot of top-end performers always have, they do this, they do the cross. So they do the, I don't know what side to do it, I'm a Protestant, but you know, the fucking, they go up. Like you see footballers doing that all the time, especially the South Americans, or they'll have the cross around their neck. They'll wear the necklace. Saying they're religious, obviously, especially Catholics. That's the exact same fucking thing as superstition, lads. I'm sorry to tell you. I know in America you don't want to hear this. It's the same fucking thing. If you think superstitions are stupid, but you follow an organized religion, maybe the phone call's coming from within inside the house. Maybe the rats are in charge of the cheese here. Maybe you should give your head a bit of a fucking wobble. But it fucking works. Religion works for these people. Sports stars who do these things, it works. The benefits of religion have been seen for millennia without any actual proof of any existence of any religion or higher power. But the benefits have been seen. Plenty of shite too, but that's for another day and another podcast. So, don't turn your fucking nose up at superstitions. They work, whether you like it or not. And if you turn them into pre-performance routines, you might notice something going somewhere. This little fucker here around my bag has done magic for me. It'll never be coming off. And it's working. So, fuck yous. I would love to hear if you guys have them. Any superstitions, pre-performance routines, all that kind of stuff. If you haven't got one, maybe it's time to join the club. Either that or start respecting some fucking fairies. Your luck could turn overnight. So anyway, guys, that's the end of this. I hope you enjoyed that. There was no moral to this story. I'm just justifying my own behaviour and my own thoughts as I always do. Cheers for listening, you lovely lot. Have a nice weekend. Go buy yourself a nice Melody bag. 200 quid, some of them. They're fucking gorgeous. At least go follow her. Okay, Melody bags. Go and follow her, please. Go and interact with her on social media. I've never got a nicer present in my fucking life. Go and do it. Anyway, have a lovely weekend, lads. Free Palestine. Smooches.
Get your man the Flute to play on the fuck.
Crocky, halt the druids.